Hello everybody. In this video, a bandsaw I purchased at a garage sale. Taking care of rubber tires, reassembly, fitting on the blade, adjusting tracking, leveling table, testing. This is my new tool, purchased at a garage sale for cheap. This is a 10-inch bandsaw. It came with the blade, but it snapped at the weld as soon as I tried to cut something. The motor works. It needs some cleaning, a new blade, and adjustment. The front cover is held by 3 thumb screws. 2 thumb screws hold the table. I take it off to have better access to the lower guides. I remove the top guide. Upper wheel runs on a ball bearing. I remove the retaining ring and the wheel. Oh, actually it runs on 2 ball bearings. Dust build up everywhere. The lower wheel under the table. Same story. The ring, the wheel is out. Somebody used to cut aluminum on this thing, and small shavings are stuck to the rubber tire. But the tire is not cut or cracked. A new set of tires for this saw is more expensive than I paid for it. The upper wheel has some shavings too, but the rubber is in good shape. The third wheel sits directly on the motor shaft. Careful here, it could be left thread here. And it is. It is done this way to prevent the nut from coming loose due to the spin direction. The shaft is flattened here. The rubber tire is good here as well. I brush off the dust. Removing the blade tensioner mechanism and cleaning it. To clean the rubber, I use this red rubber grease, which is specially formulated for rubber. It is not petroleum-based, which is important. Any petroleum-based product will make rubber swell and lose its properties. Another enemy of rubber is UV light. It will make rubber hard and crack. It is easier to remove aluminum shavings from the tires with this grease on. I left this red rubber grease overnight on the tires and now will clean it from the surface where it touches the blade. I don't want any grease to make the blade slip. The tires are clean. The wheels go back on the saw. Remember, left thread here. Ball bearings are good. The wheel spins nicely. The circlip on. The upper wheel shaft sits on the bracket that regulates blade tension. But we also have another set screw here that adjusts the shaft tilt in case the blade has the tendency to walk off the wheel. Top tension adjusting thumb screw. The second screw holds the bracket to the saw, the wheel, the snap ring, making sure it is in the groove. New blade. Careful, it is sharp. The blade teeth must point downward. Before tensioning the blade, I will remove the lower guide. I apply tension and turn the wheel to see if the blade is walking off the tire. In my case, the tires are flat, but if you have convex tires, align the deepest part of the gullet with the highest point on the tire. It makes blade tension close to the cutting point, and the blade will not have the tendency to wander around the cutting line. Blade guides will keep the blade in check at the back of it. The blade is walking slightly toward the back. I must tilt the upper wheel. Now is almost perfect. Well, nothing ever is. Lower guide. The blade should ride in the gap between those guides, but the gap must be adjusted. I spread the guides and put the guide holder back on the saw. I remove the shield from the upper guide to have better access to the guides. Here I spread the guides and set the guides holder straight. And it goes back on the saw. First, I will adjust the thrust bearing. The blade should not touch the bearing when running freely, but with slight pressure applied to the blade, it should run against the bearing. Same with the side guides. As close as possible, but not touch. Some people use a piece of paper to set the gap between the guides and the blade. Same story with the lower guides. Testing for any scratches and adjusting. Important thing. The guides should not run on the teeth, since the teeth have offset and we don't want to flatten it. This offset is a must for the blade to cut properly. Time for the table. The table is held by 2 thumb screws. It has a slot to install it through the blade. The table can pivot in relation to the blade to make miter cuts. The table's flatness is set by a bolt here. Since the table slot can make the table uneven, there is this spot for a bolt to hold it together. The shield goes back on the guide's holder. The main cover didn't blow up. Good. Runs smooth. Let's see if the blade is perpendicular to the table. I make a small cut and bring it to the back of the blade. I must tilt it to fit. 2 thumb screws loosened slightly, and I make half turn of this set screw. The thumb screws tightened, and I test it once again. No fit. A quarter of the turn. And I got 90 degrees. The table is set flat, so I will adjust the 0 mark. Another important thing is to set the upper guide close to the material. This will not only save our fingers, but also will prevent the blade from wandering from the cutting line. Cheap garage sale saw. Till next time.